All right, looks like we are live and on the air on both YouTube and Twitch. Welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is a finally Friday, and I need to mute things so I'm not hearing myself while I'm talking to myself. There we go. So, welcome everyone to the Finally Friday show, Foolish Tech Show. We are here mainly to provide you with support and answer any questions about our products and services. If you don't have any of those, we'll just sit around and talk shop in case you do. You can always join our IRC chat at foolishtechshow.com. We have a couple ways you can join from there, and we'll be more than happy to talk directly to you, or you can participate in our random shop talk as well. So, just remember that any opinions expressed here are of the individual that expressed them and not of the entire company. So if you do have any complaints, always direct them to Michael's address, which we'll give out at the end of the show. So how's everybody doing this Friday?
Doing well.
Excellent. Well,
better until that announcement.
So, little news to start off here. Michael made me change something in CryptoPrevent, and that might have broken your automatic updates. So if you happen to update to 0.19 or 0.110, your automatic updates might have been disabled if you open the interface especially. But we do have a fix for it. You'll want to download this file and extract it to your CryptoPrevent folder, and that should fix any issues with that. And the latest version is 0.11, so 8.0.1.11, and that shouldn't have any issues going forward into the future with the automatic updates, because we reverted everything back and made a change to how the update goes. But you have to be on that version for it to be working first off, and then every version after that will be working. But if you're not on that version or you're not sure, go ahead and open it up, see if you can check for updates, ensure that your automatic updates are still enabled and that there is still a task there. And if not, download that file and you'll be able to extract it. Just make sure you close out of the CryptoPrevent interface before you try to extract it there. So otherwise, we will not be making any changes to the update routines anytime going forward, no matter what, unless lots and lots of people are having issues with it. So just to throw that out there. And otherwise, we did get some testing done with the bulk version, just to give you an update on that. And I am working on the final touches of that before we do some more final testing on it and hopefully get the bulk release out and have CryptoPrevent 8 fully released out to everyone. So good deal there. And otherwise, anyone else have any other updates? No? Okay. Well, Phoenix threw some news in the IRC here, so let's discuss that link, or a couple links first. This one was interesting. I'd seen this as well. KickassTorrents is back to life from the original people. I believe they were let off the charges for whatever it was that they got busted for, and everything got taken down. However, like I was talking with Phoenix in the chat, I probably would not trust them one bit. It could be a ploy, some kind of deal they made to get the site back up and running and catch other people. All kinds of things could be going for it. And even if I did have protections in place to anonymize myself, I probably still wouldn't use them if I did that kind of thing. So yeah, it is sketchy as Freck, as Phoenix puts it. So I would be wary about it. There's plenty of other good torrent sites out there if you want to use those. But yeah, I would recommend other ones, not go back to KickassTorrents until at least they've proven themselves for a little time. The article I was reading, apparently they kept going down because of how many people flocked back to them when they came back up. But I'd say, yeah, you need to be careful with that. So, he also posted that apparently Microsoft security bulletins are going away. I didn't read the article yet for that, and I'm not sure what that means exactly, but I know that they're switching over to the roll-up method, so maybe they'll just have a roll-up bulletin instead, possibly, maybe. Because I mean, I know they're not going to just put out updates and not tell people what they are, but maybe they will. Maybe that's what Microsoft wants to do. So, I thought this was a pretty interesting thing to start off the random talk. And Proctor's not here to see it. He'd probably be the one that really likes it the most. But there is a Millennium Falcon Pocket Toolbox. Comes with all kinds of bits and stuff put in, and it's a wrench in itself. And man, that actually it makes sense with the design of the Millennium Falcon to have it as a pocket toolbox. So, if you're into Star Wars and pocket tools, there you go. Christmas list check.
That's
Other
really
one.
cool.
It is really cool. I thought it was. I don't want one, but it looks cool and a good idea. And let's see. There was some.
Oh wait, you can also get it equipped with the R2D2 tape measure.
Oh, nice. That's nice. Very nice.
And screwdriver.
Well, I thought this was other interesting news as well. Let's see if I can find the two for it. So here is part of it. And I'm not sure if this second one relates to it as or not, but there was a second story on the similar nature here. And I'm posting the Slashdot links because they both have a couple articles that you could pull off of there. But apparently the big carriers are telling the FCC to back off of net neutrality complaints because, I mean, why would we want net neutrality? Just because it gives everyone an equal and fair capitalistic venture into something? That wouldn't make sense in our economy, right? No. But really, what worries me about this is I feel like net neutrality is probably going to be the biggest thing that we have to worry about and fight for over the next 4 years. I'm almost positive that it's probably going to be gone within the next 4 years, if not in the next 6 months. So, guess let's keep an eye on that and keep making complaints to the FCC and try to make our voices heard that we want net neutrality, because it's crazy that so the example there with T-Mobile in the second one is that they exempt AT&T's DirecTV Now service from data caps. So essentially, if you want to use anything else for DirecTV service, you're going to have to pay for it and pay the data cost of it. But if you use AT&T's, you don't. And that is the exact thing that net neutrality is supposed to protect, is that it's either one way or the other. Either you're going to give everybody free and no data caps, or you're going to charge everybody for it. So I think that's the fair route to go, not these backdoor deals that one person gets better bandwidth or less money cost and things on various carriers depending on who it is. So hopefully we'll be able to keep that up. Net neutrality is really big for all of the major players on the internet, and they voiced their concerns with that Blackout Friday for the SOPA thing, I believe, and hopefully they'll continue fighting for that going forward. Because the internet will be a vastly different place if we don't continue to have net neutrality. Like, you're going to be having to choose which service and based off how much you can afford, and it's going to strangle anyone that doesn't have the money to fight against those guys. So hopefully we won't come to that, but we'll see where it goes and keep an eye on it. I thought this was a pretty interesting article as well. Apparently they found 2-billion-year-old water in a Canadian mine. That is some really old water. And I want to know, did someone fix a leak like 2 billion years ago, and that's how it stayed there? I don't understand how they would have gotten to that, but apparently it's the oldest water ever discovered on Earth.
That's pretty old then.
Yeah.
The people that found that 2,000-year-old butter in England or whatever could use this water for that.
Yeah. I want to know how do you get a job going and discovering water? Like old water. Like, let's call up we got some old looking water here. Let's call up the leading expert in the field of oldest water finders. Like, seems like an interesting job. I guess like you have to be in science or something, probably.
I don't know. My best guess would they were there testing for something else and just set a sample of the water in, or who knows.
I do not know, Glenn. Unfortunately, that is not my job, so I don't get to tell. Michael, pay attention to the show. Quit working on other stuff. We know that's what you're doing. We can see it in your eyelids. Now that your eye's fixed, it clearly reflects your screen.
He's not kidding.
And you're muted, so we can't hear you.
Really?
Yeah.
What,
And
really,
some
we
of
could see
that,
the screen, or really you were muted?
some of that was not safe for work.
What?
Anyway, so Facebook launched a drone to provide internet, and then it crashed because of the wind.
Crashed because of the what?
The wind.
The wind. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, apparently it was too windy for it, and it decided to crash.
Are there specifications for drones to what they can tolerate in those regards? Or are they advertised or easily accessible?
Or did they not take wind into account when they designed an airfield?
I don't know on either of those, but this is not like a consumer drone. This is like the plane style drones. And if you look at the picture there, that it looks like it could be severely affected by too much wind. I mean, there's not much to it. There's just some propellers and wings. That's about it. So. Oh, yep, Michael, now you're showing off your desktop.
What?
Now you're not showing off your desktop.
What?
You were showing your desktop off on the stream. Stop playing around with stuff. Just focus on the show.
I was just trying to open up Hex Chat so I could participate. I don't know why that...
Well, if anyone is interested in getting a new coffee table and I would highly recommend checking out this coffee table. Little bit pricey, I'll admit that. Little bit pricey, but it's a floating coffee table. I mean, that's freaking awesome. And it only will run you $30,000.
That's not a little bit pricey.
Okay, so it is extremely pricey, but it's still freaking awesome that it just hovers there. And like that, the GIF they have down, the second one down on that page, the guy puts his feet on the coffee table. That's freaking awesome. I would be worried about putting like drinks and stuff on there and then having someone kick their feet up. Obviously, that would not be a good idea. And then there's $30,000 down the drain. And definitely don't get this if you break things easily, because that is pretty much just a plate of glass. So. And for anyone else that does play Pokemon Go, or the better one, Ingress, here is a awesome tracker of probably finding all the Pokemon Go and Ingress portals and such, because they normally base them off historic access. But this could be used as well for other things, like finding out about history in the area that you're around. But it's an interactive map with historic points of interest across the country. And it was done by the University of Waterloo. Where is that?
Waterloo?
Yeah.
It's over in Europe and France. Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Napoleon fought a famous battle there.
That's why I thought it sounded familiar, but
I thought it was France, but is it actually in France? It's in Belgium. No, it's in Belgium. Waterloo, Belgium.
oh, there's a Waterloo, South Carolina, and a Waterloo, Canada.
It's part of the Netherlands.
I'm pretty sure they were talking about Waterloo, SC.
Oh, well, I mean, there's others. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other cities named after it, but anyway.
With a population of 203 in Waterloo, South Carolina.
It's somewhere close to a Arlington cemetery.
What is?
I'm completely confused. Arlington Cemetery is in D.C.
Where this map is at.
Virginia, actually.
Well,
It's
that's where
Wilmington.
the map is pictured. The
Or
picture
something.
in the map.
Yeah, District of Columbia.
Well, that's just the picture. We were talking about who made it.
Oh.
Yeah, the picture there is of DC. But that it's confusing. Why would if Waterloo University is here, let's just search where Waterloo University is.
It says CA.
So it's the Canada one. No.
Yes. Yes, it is. See, a professor.
It's just outside of Toronto, you're right. But it's kind of interesting because all those points on there are US cities. Why would they have made a map for the US? That's weird. I guess for Canadians coming to here to see historic stuff, yeah, that makes more sense. Still, it'll be very helpful for you Pokemon Go or Ingress players out there. Speaking of something that isn't too pricey and I would probably enjoy as a Christmas gift, check that thing out. So I've been wondering where the virtual assistants from Japan is going to be going, and I say they beat out Echo and Home hands down by far. So this is a virtual assistant from Japan, and essentially it is, like the title says there, an anime girl trapped in, it's not really a coffee pot, it's more like a tube, but the video for it I watched was freaking awesome. It's called Gatebox, and essentially it's for lonely people is what they're advertising towards, but it does run about $2,500. So oh, you can hook it up to a PC or HDMI port as well. So, and it has a camera and other unspecified sensors. That's cool. But I think I think they did a way better job of making a virtual assistant than anybody else has. Siri, Google, Apple, Siri, Google's Now, or Assistant, whatever they want to call it now. Microsoft's Cortana and Amazon's Alexa all pale in comparison to how this interacted with the person, at least in the commercial. Not they haven't gone on actual sale yet, and they're only going to have 300 of them for pre-order until January 2017. So if anyone would like to get one, let us know how it is. And let's see what else we got out there. Hey, Zombie Worm.
Might I post something?
Sure.
Okay, this is the, and I was talking about this, but did I actually send it? The new Zen architecture from AMD. So now we have some results, and I think I may have misspoken when I said previously regarding the comparison. It wasn't to a 6700K, it was to a 6900K. My apologies, but those are both 8-core 16-thread chips. So my apologies for the previous misinformation. But it does look like they show off it a little bit there, and I think it's I mean, it's just a small benchmark there, but it does look promising, the performance. So I'm still holding down with what I said previously, and it does look fairly impressive from AMD. So keep a lookout.
Yeah. Hey, Zombie Worm, here's some Pi news for you. Remotely monitor your Pi to see what's running and get notifications if something goes wrong. Apparently, it's a free service if you just use the base level and don't use a lot of data, so that's awesome. And then also, there is this one where you can build your own mobile digital library to share books from anywhere with anyone. And looks like they used a Raspberry Pi Zero for that project. But pretty cool, pretty nice way to spread the knowledge. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool too. Then there's some interesting drone news here. Essentially giving, and this is more of the plane design drone, not the quadcopters, but pretty cool, like wings, and looks like they go up and down and help fly better and stuff. So that's pretty neat. Apparently, they have to get FAA approval, and they'll need years of testing to prove they're as durable as rigid wings. Rigid wings. There we go. But yeah, it's basically like kind of the feather bird style. So maybe we'll even see it in real planes someday. Yeah, spreading knowledge through books is good, especially with the Raspberry Pi Zero. Winged rings, rigid widget ring. Yeah, exactly. Thought this was pretty cool too. Skiing through ice caves. Seems extremely dangerous, but it does look really nice. So I probably won't do it. I'll just enjoy somebody else doing it and watching them do it. So seems like a better route to take. And oh, I didn't even get to watch this yet. But apparently there's going to be a all new DuckTales. Did y'all know about this?
No.
And it's going to have funny people in it. The one guy from that show, Community, the Indian guy that was funny. He's going to be one of the cast people. And here is the video for it. So check that out. DuckTales was one of my favorite shows. That show was awesome.
I admit to having watched it.
David Tennant, is that the Doctor Who person? Everybody seemed really impressed that he was going to be Scrooge McDuck, but I don't know who that is, but I don't watch Doctor Who either. Yep, apparently he's the Doctor Who person.
Hey, Brantley, what's that floating table video? Is it worth sharing?
What? I already showed it.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the $30,000 glass coffee table.
Yeah. Very expensive.
But it is awesome. I'd love to have one if anyone wants to donate. Speaking of donations, apparently Wikipedia has far exceeded their donation goal, but they're continuing to ask for more money. I thought it was
Is that a problem? I'm sorry. Is that generally a problem? Don't they typically want as much money as they can get? I mean,
the last thing that they have in this Slashdot snippet is the most recent audited accounts of Wikimedia Foundation, who runs Wikipedia, showed net assets of 92 million and revenue of 82 million. None of this money, incidentally, pays for writing or checking Wikipedia content. That's the job of unpaid volunteers. And only 2 million of that are spent on internet hosting every year.
Oh, okay. So
where is all of this money going that they're getting people to donate and asking for and such like that? And that's kind of my biggest thing with why I probably won't donate to Wikipedia is that they're not generating that content. They're not making it. They're not even checking it. They're just providing it and the ability for it. So why am I donating for them to just make money? Like, I think they should make some way to pay the people that are generating all the content for them to be like one of the #1 websites in the world. So I just think it's very sketchy to me, especially when Jimmy Wales promised the Wikimedia Foundation would stop the fundraiser if enough money were raised in a shorter than planned time. But apparently they're just saying, yeah, we were just kidding. We're going to keep asking for your money and we'll still take it. Yeah, so it's crazy. I was just reading some of the comments in there in the Slashdot article to see if anyone had any points to express there. Let's see, somebody tried to break it down. So 2016 donation and revenue gross inflows 82 million. 2016 expenses 32 million in salaries. Do they employ that many people? 11 million in awards and grants, so that's good. 6 million in professional services. That kind of sounds shady. 4.8 in other operating expenses. 3.6 in donation processing expenses. 3.6 million to take donations? That doesn't make sense. 2.6 million on travel, conference, special events.
I have to compare this to something else. I mean, yeah, it certainly could be, but you know, you, hey, listen, I look, if people are stupid enough to donate their money to if they're just that willing to give it away, then they deserve whatever's coming to them. I mean, I don't know what to say. This is all the rage. Thanks internet, thanks social media, thanks Kickstarter, thanks all these GoFundMe crap places. It's just another way to fleece the poor and then the uneducated primarily. And it's sad that it's allowed as a general concept, not just talking about them.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's the concern I have with it, especially. And again, my thing is that the people that are creating all the content and moderating it are not getting anything from it. So maybe
Look, that's their problem too. I mean, I don't know that, if they're
But I'm not saying it's a
willing to
terrible
do something for
project. I'm just
free.
saying, yeah, it's. I like somebody was like they're all upset that they're dishing the greatest human expanse of knowledge project that's ever been done. But at the same time, that's what I'm saying is where they're getting all that knowledge from and the people that are doing it. Yeah, sure, they want to do it for free, but that's also the reason why you get stuff that you can't trust on Wikipedia. And that's why you can't really cite Wikipedia, because you actually have to go find the sources that were cited in Wikipedia and verify that those sources were in fact legit, and then take those sources and cite those specific sources. So essentially, to me, Wikipedia is just a place to find sources to get information for other stuff. Like, it's not a place to go to get the information. I do use it to get random stuff, but that's for trivial things that I can just say, hey, Wikipedia says it. But yeah, you can't trust that or rely on that. But anyway, it apparently, no matter what, they still had a profit of 15 million this year. So where's that 15 million going? That should go back to the community.
They do make it easy to get the sourcing for things. I will give them credit for that, because a lot of times other places just, it's not, there's no requirement at all to source anything that's posted, written by somebody at somewhere, whatever. So I guess there are some positives, but and is it necessary? No, you're absolutely right. It's not necessary. But it's popular, and I'm just I think maybe that they need if they want to do what they want to do and they want to do this, they need a different business model, maybe, you know?
Yeah, I agree. So, Glenn, I like your idea. If you need someone to take pictures, I'm down. I know you take pictures, but I mean, you can have me over there. And N, I believe, is probably Nick, and he wants the link to your GoFundMe for that. Well, bad news
Oh, God.
anyone that uses Plex and Amazon Cloud Drive, apparently they are no longer going to be supporting Amazon Cloud Drive after December 31st. So
You're
if
gonna
you use
take pictures
Plex
of what?
of the couple of hot girls as they
That's what
wash,
I thought.
wax, and polish cars in drought-affected areas.
That's what I thought.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all.
Okay. Um, Otherwise, these batteries are on sale and pretty good deal for what you get there. I actually have this pack already from a previous time it's on sale, but basically for 30 bucks you get a charger, um, 10 AA batteries and 4 AAA batteries. And for 30 bucks, that's pretty good for that many rechargeable batteries and the charger. And they do work well. I've had them for a little while here and haven't had any issues with them and been using them. So cool there. Plus, you can get the spacers if you need to make them C-size batteries or D-size batteries. No, Glenn, we can't do that. I guess Johnny can take those pictures.
Only if there's a couple. And they don't necessarily have to be firefighters.
So we had been talking about the Evernote
Thank
fiasco
you.
recently.
I'm so glad you're going to update that because that was that's a total reversal of what they're doing now.
Yep. So to apprise you of what we've talked about previously, Evernote decided to change its policy so that employees could read unencrypted notes, and they were going to try to wash sensitive information before the employees saw it. However, the uproar came and the CEO came back and said, hey, look, this is why we're doing it. We want to make sure it's all good. And then the community was not happy by that, and apparently Evernote has decided to renege that. They're not going to be changing it, and employees will not be able to read your notes going forward.
And they said they're going to be focusing on machine learning or something, or non-human assisted. Were they still, in other words, were they going to be collecting data at all? They were still trying to do that project, right?
They will make machine learning technologies available to their users, but no employees will be reading note content as part of this process unless the users opt in. So apparently you could still opt in, but by default your data is going to remain private.
That's what, yeah, cool.
So good job. Probably what they should have done in the first place.
Yeah, I'm fine for opt in. I don't have any problem generally with those types of things. Don't opt me in by default. Do not do that. It's the most frustrating thing in the world, in my opinion. One of the most frustrating things in the world.
Well, and fair warning, there is graphic content in this clip, but I thought it was an interesting capture. This is going to be much more prevalent in the days going forward with more people getting security cameras and those devices becoming more ubiquitous, even with their history of not being extremely secure. You'll still get some great footage like this out of it. But apparently this family had a camera looking at their porch where a deer happened to wander on, and then not only did they get a picture of the deer, but they got to capture a mountain lion attacking the deer and then dragging it off their porch. But yeah, if you live in California, beware of mountain lions. They are everywhere. Oh, Glenn, I'm glad you're here. We went to a place that you don't have in Australia, but it's kind of ironic because it's called Outback and it's based on being Australian. But I thought this was pretty interesting. We already talked about that.
Oh, did you?
I interrupted when we tried to talk about that. But check this out, Glenn. Have you ever been to the? Let's see if I can get a good shot of it here. The U. Oh, I should probably type that out because I'm not going to be able to spell that or say that. So it's ULURU. KATATIUTA National Park. Have you ever been there, Glenn? And if so, please tell me there's something better there than just this one big rock. Like, it's a national monument, and like, apparently it's just a big rock, like a big rock hill. And I don't know, like when I saw it, I was like, that is strangely unimpressive. So
Like,
I was
even
wondering
if
if
you
you've been there.
Google it, the only image that really comes up is a rock.
So apparently that's a very important rock. Maybe you can tell us why that rock is so important, Glenn. And Johnny gave us an incredibly long link that did not work because it was too long.
Nice.
Wikipedia tells us that is a national park located in the Northern Territory of Australia. It's home to both the Uluru and Katatuta, I guess.
I think it's a pretty rock.
It is a pretty rock, but it does look like just a big pile of red sand.
Okay, wait.
Thing that you got
Okay.
cities so close to it.
Okay, so they're both the mounts. Oh, so what are these things? Hold on. But no, both of those two things. Yeah, what? I don't get what those two things are.
I'm not
Uluru.
berating his homeland. I'm trying to understand it.
Yeah, Uluru is Ayers Rock. Uluru is Ayers Rock. And Katatutu
Well, here,
is also known
here's
as
their
the Orcas.
website.
Those are, yeah, they're two rock formations, but that's, yeah, they're basically a national park that encompasses two rock formations. And it's a focal point for us, or it's it's the indigenous culture, yeah.
We laugh, but what if he's serious?
He might be. Here is a somewhat shortened link of possibly what Johnny was posting, which is just the Google Images search of that place.
It's a sacred place to them, the indigenous peoples of Australia.
I mean, I guess we can't really say that much about it. We got a similar thing here in the U.S. called Devil's Tower in Wyoming. That's also a national park, and it is basically just the same thing. It's just only one rock though, so maybe they're doing better. They got two rocks.
Well, but I think the symbolism behind it is more important for this particular one. I think that particular rock that you're talking about is just it's visually, you know, that's why they named it, right? Or what was the reasoning? Because it's dangerous or it's fun or it's...
Devil's Tower?
Yeah, what's Devil's Tower?
Devil's Tower is the mountain from Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
because it's visually. Okay, so but again,
well,
it's
the reason that it's interesting is because it's just this massive rock structure in the middle of flatlands.
Yeah.
Like Wyoming isn't a really mountainous place on the east side, which is where this is located. And yeah, it's impressive just because it's like this huge mountain or rock upcrop,
Yeah. So that's the
upwood or
reason why it was
whatever.
given that name, but the the names given here aren't just descriptive of them, visually. They're descriptive of um, the beliefs, the spiritual beliefs of those peoples, not so much, a shape of, um, I mean, I guess shape is part of everything, but it's not well-defined form like that.
Yeah, like this is probably the best image of it to see why Devil's Tower is so unique in the area. If you look at that link, it's like that huge thing, and there's nothing else, like barely any hills around that area.
Okay. So, oh, there you go. So that's why, Brantley, that's why the rock formation is there. They're not,
Which one?
that one in Australia. So, and that's why the two, and they're spread out, and the national park basically encompasses them both. Um, that's this little graphic here shows you what happened geologically with that, and
Where did you post this?
oh, I just put it in your private one if you want to look at it.
Oh,
That was from the page, but I mean, but as far as how that happened geologically, I don't know how the geologic process behind the Devil's thing, but I'm guessing it's probably something like that, maybe.
I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. We're gonna leave it as a mystery for the Devil's Tower.
What?
But I was more interested in getting Glenn's opinion on A, if he's been there, and B, uh, if there is more to it. But I guess we'll just rely on Wikipedia. Glenn's probably busy working, or he's just mad at Michael.
What did I do?
It's what you didn't do.
Maybe he
What you didn't.
shares those spiritual beliefs, and maybe I don't want to offend him.
I don't see how that would be offensive. I was just asking about it because I saw it, and I don't know about it.
Oh,
I've
you're
never
saying
been
it's
to
just a
Australia.
rock. Oh, it's just a rock. I mean, but it's got
That's
maybe.
what it looks like, and they got a big symbol on Outback's wall, and it's just a rock for the national park. It didn't make sense. And if there's two of them, why didn't they have two of rocks in the picture? Like, that would have made more sense. That would actually been a little bit more impressive. I would have been like, oh, well, there's two rocks there. That makes more sense of why they would have it as a national park. But just one rock, it kind of makes me wonder. So I was wondering if maybe it was something similar to the Devil's Tower, where it was like a unique thing in the geography of that land, which apparently it is. So anyway, here's a 3D visualization of carbon emissions. Apparently, it's supposed to be disturbing and change the way you think about carbon emissions.
Why?
I still think the same about carbon emissions after watching it. So.
Why? I can't watch it, right? It's a video.
Yeah, it is a video.
All right. Well,
But it has a GIF on that page, so you can kind of see what they're talking about.
oh, so I can actually load the. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's interesting seeing like all the carbon emissions are coming from essentially the northern hemisphere because of the first world countries there. But then watching how it spreads around the globe and everything is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I just see. I don't like this. This just adds just visualization to something. I don't. Is this really helping people understand it better, though? I mean, or is this just a cool looking video that I can,
It does look really cool. That is good.
Yeah, I just wonder sometimes if they're truly trying to educate the public or if they're just looking for, a bunch of
I would
clicks.
imagine they were doing it for some other purpose and just thought they should let other people see it as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a possibility. I can see
They're
that.
hoping to learn if land and ocean will continue its intense rate of CO2 absorption or if we'll eventually reach a saturation point.
Oh, that makes total sense. They've been looking at that for quite some time. Yeah, we talked about this previously. Basically, it looks like CO2 emissions are leveling off in the atmosphere, and because the water and our plants and trees and all that is or the oceans and the associated life in there as well, the plant life there, along with our regular ones, seem to be soaking it up. I mean, that's how they respirate. So, it's critical to their process there. And plants are generally expected to grow more and better with higher CO2 to an extent, to a point. Once they have all they can possibly pull out, then you can't have them achieve higher efficiencies without genetic modification. They have shown in the lab that they can genetically modify plants to respirate possibly up to 50%, I believe, faster, and that, or 25%, maybe it's 25%, but considerably faster than, or more efficient rather than what they were doing previously. So if they're able to do that, that could change a picture like this, but it's important to know where that saturation point is, and I guess that's what they're doing here. So yay for that, and cool video to share with the world.
Michael went from, I hate these videos, to this is a cool video. Now that I know what they're doing with it.
Well, I mean, in other words, I just didn't want it to be a waste of
It's crazy
time
what
for the.
happens when you read.
No, but I just didn't. I want it.
Don't just make
Everything is always.
assumptions.
Everything is always a quick video, though, is what I'm getting at, and or quick, So, I mean, I would hope people come for the video, stay for the scientific content and text, and if that's their motivation, then that's genuinely good. I just, That's important to understand it, though, I guess.
So what about this? Apparently China has seized a unmanned naval drone, and the U.S. has demanded it back.
Didn't we talk about this earlier? Today's show?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a Joan. Okay. This is interesting. I have a question about it. We went out of our way to say that it was unclassified, and that the drone's data that China took is unclassified, so it's not a problem. But I just thought that was such.
But I mean, they took a drone.
I know. I thought that was. I mean, I think it's more significant than sometimes how they're reporting, but. Or maybe it's just maybe what I'm just reading is the government's trying to save face after having lost something like that. And my question is, doesn't it sound like we were spying on what they're doing in the South China Sea? I mean,
well, Admiral Harris says we will not allow a shared domain to be closed down unilaterally, no matter how many bases are built on artificial features in the South China Sea. We will cooperate when we can, but we will be ready to confront when we must. So,
well, is this not a must confront scenario?
I mean, they demanded it, but it depends on what China comes back and says, if they'll give it back.
We're always pushovers with China. We always we're always like, oh, we'll fly the planes real close. We'll make them real scared, and that's what we think. And I kind of think they don't look at it like that. They're just like, what the hell are you doing?
But I mean, I guess the more concerning fact is that they feel that that's their ocean and they can do whatever they want there.
They do, and they have the resources and power to do it. And I'm not so sure it's our business whether or not to involve ourselves in that. You know what the real problem is, though, is that it's all about the oil, because there's oil down there, and it has nothing to do with these military bases. But the military bases are there to protect the oil. And we just don't want them to be able to independently produce and
well, there were some other things with the South China Sea, because remember when we were looking at how Google Maps shows different maps for different countries?
Well, yeah, there's
China
territorial
shows
disputes. Yeah, there's.
Well,
border
that
disputes.
I think is kind of the other side of that South China Sea thing, is the fact that China apparently claims a lot of that stuff, and other countries are claiming that stuff as
Oh
well.
yeah,
So,
sure. But then what do we do? I mean, what can we do to stop it? Number one, without deliberately starting a war, and you know, what role do Japan and Korea and any other country around there, you know, what role do they play in the matter, you know, in the situation? Um, I'm interested to see what happens because, you know, I think this is going to just continue to escalate there. And that's a pretty bold statement, I think, by us to say, but yet they're the ones with the our drone, you know. I mean,
yeah.
did we do anything? Did we fire a shot across their bow? Did we, you know, what did we do except speak, you know, except say some words? You know, it just seems so ineffectual, foreign you know, foreign policy today with us. It's a mess.
Well, lots of people will probably be traveling over the upcoming week or so. But keep in mind, if you do, to probably check your wrapped gifts in a checked bag and not bring them through the line for TSA security, because they may have to unwrap your gifts, and although they'll try to not mangle your wrapping paper, they may, and
Okay,
depending on
okay.
the rush, stuff like
They're
that.
going to unwrap your gifts, and you know that, and you're going to complain about them ruining the wrapping paper. Who's ever been able to successfully unwrap a gift, you know,
That's
perfectly,
what I'm
and
saying.
in
I'm
any
like,
reasonable amount of time at least? I mean,
and that's going to slow down lines for everyone. So don't bring wrapped gifts onto airplanes. It's not the
Don't be
best
that
idea.
guy.
Yeah. And then, yeah, definitely don't complain if the. I mean, that's probably the happiest moment of a TSA's day.
except if
The
it's a
fact that he gets to unwrap a present and find out what's in it. So,
I, I mean, you know, I'm starting to think about a scenario where, you know, the I don't know. It's just just don't fly, drive if you need to do that.
yeah. On the same note, apparently TSA confiscated one of those huge teddy bears that for some reason someone decided to bring on as a carry-on. Like, man, I would be super pissed if I had to fly beside that guy, because those teddy bears don't fit in overhead things nor under your seat. So, A, why'd they think he could take it on
Was he trying to
carry-on?
see if he could get two seats easily or
Yeah.
something like that?
Well, I mean, like I'm pretty sure you can buy a second seat for that type of
Well,
thing,
yeah,
but
who's going to want to pay for it though? But
yeah, I don't see why you
um,
wouldn't check that in your luggage either. Like,
yeah, that just seems incredibly. I mean, but so I've heard of stories of people in the HOV lanes. They would put a blow up dummy in the passenger seat and go through the HOV lane at high speed.
well,
But
that makes sense. But I mean, like, just think about that person that was holding that huge bear standing in line with his shoes off, and like being like, dude, do you really you think that's gonna go through? Where are you gonna put that on the plane? Second off, hopefully you're not flying on my plane. Um, but yeah, TSA is always good for interesting stories, I feel. And oh, I thought this was pretty cool too. Lucid Motors. I haven't heard of them. Have y'all heard of them?
what is it?
Lucid Motors.
No.
Lucid, yeah. Well, no, not Motors. No, what's Lucid
Okay.
Motors?
Well, apparently they're taking aim at Tesla,
Oh,
and they're offering a luxury electric sedan with a 400-mile range. Now that is
400
impressive. I mean, that's a tank of gas right there. So
Is there something wrong with the IRC?
I don't
Oh,
know why
nobody's talking.
no one's talking.
Oh, okay.
They're probably all on Glenn's GoFundMe page to get that campaign up and running. Um, But yeah, no, that's impressive. I'm glad to see that finally electric cars are getting the stuff they should from that. I'm checking the RC to see if there is anything like that. I doubt there is. I think they just don't want to talk to us. Or maybe they're too enveloped by what we're saying. Well, still works for me. Yeah. So anyway, let's see, was there anything else interesting before we wrap up today? Oh, here's a fun little link. Tinder is coming to Apple TV, and you can use your remote control to swipe left and swipe right. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And I think that's probably about it. Unless you want to make a voice-controlled clock and timer with our Arduino, you can do that. And yeah, that's probably it. Does anybody else have anything? Do they? Anybody?
I do not.
Oh, Tank, can we show the video of you in the music video?
Sure, because it's not really me.
It is Tank. Don't let him fool you. He was a mechanic, and he had a massive beard prior to coming and working here. So we're pretty sure that's Tank. It takes a second to watch it, but it's definitely Tank. It's not a bad song either, so enjoy it. And on that note, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up for today. So thanks everyone for watching. We will be back on Monday morning at 8 a.m. And of course, if you have any questions or anything about our software services, we'll be more than happy to talk to you. Just contact our support by any means that we have available. Otherwise, you could wait until Monday morning at 8 a.m. and talk to us directly here at the Foolish Tech Show. Hope everyone has had a great week, and hope you have a great weekend as well. And we'll see you next week. Oh, Glenn's back now. Right when we finished up. Glenn, read back about all that park and stuff and tell us about it. I guess tell us about it on Monday, probably. Yeah, you'll just have to watch it after we post it, and then you can tell us more about it on Monday. So take us on out, Michael.
Oh, yeah, sure.